Calls have gone out for entries in the My First Speech competition. It's an initiative organised by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Milton Dick. It's a competition for school students in years 10, 11 and 12, and the idea is that they put themselves into the shoes of a newly elected Member of Parliament. So then you sit down, you write a speech that sums up your goals, your ambitions, your beliefs. This is a brilliant idea. And it's something that the member for Riverina, Michael McCormack, has picked up with enthusiasm. Mr McCormack, good morning.
Good morning, Sally.
Now, can I take you back? Can you think you back to your maiden speech to Parliament as a newly minted representative? Because it must have been a huge adventure to pull that speech together, to sum up all your ambitions for what you wanted to achieve for the electorate?
It was, and I can still remember making a couple of little adjustments just towards the end, just before I actually stood in the House of Representatives way back in October 2010 to deliver that speech in front of a full Parliament. And Parliament's not always full because it goes for hours and hours every day, and it's only ever probably question time and first speeches where the Parliament is always fully occupied. And I always go in and listen to everybody's first speech, even members opposite, because I think it's important. It actually says a lot about the person and what they hope to achieve, whether they're a one-term politician or whether indeed they end up being a veteran. But this is a great initiative. It's an annual initiative, and Milton Dick, the current Speaker, has taken this up with gusto. And I really urge and encourage years 10, 11 and 12 students across the Riverina and Central West to participate. I do remember my first speech, I remember saying that I won't be silent when I ought to speak, and I've tried to live by my parliamentary career by that motto.
And this is the nature of people being who they are and being authentic in politics. I mean, when you were doing this, you weren't in the final years of high school, but it must have been a bit of an adventure, a bit daunting, bit of a head spin. What sorts of things were front of mind as you pulled those thoughts together? What things were you really thinking about?
Issues were important, particularly in our community related to water. I can remember that was back when I represented the Murrumbidgee irrigation area, Narandra Leeton, Colambia Griffith, and water, the Murray-Darling Basin was a massive issue. And of course the Wagga Wagga Base Hospital at the time, was the new base hospital, was not built. That was an important issue, getting services for the regions, making sure that people were heard, and also getting a bit of a background about myself. So I think a first speech needs to be a little bit of everything. What you're really committed to, what you're trying to achieve by standing for Parliament and being elected to Parliament, being in that great privilege to be able to represent the people in your local area, to put your community first and to give them a voice in the House of Representatives, the People's Parliament. It's really important. And,
but don't you think it's a lovely opportunity then to put young people into that sense of experience, to give them the sense of what it would be like to be a parliamentary representative, rather than, I mean, sometimes I think you run the risk of becoming so separated from the reality of the political process, whether it's by party politics or strategic posturing, and some people, particularly young people, can feel as though that process actually doesn't have much to do with them.
And I certainly agree with you, Sally, and that's why I think it's important, and that's why I do this. I get out to schools as often as I can. I'm going to the Tomorrow Debutante of the Year ball tonight, and I'll be mixing with a whole range of young people in that shire, in that town. And that's why I think it's important that our members of Parliament do these sorts of things, promote such things as Anzac Day writing competitions. Had 1,200 entries in that this year, and our young people are so good. And anybody who decries our young people and says, they're not like we used to be, is either getting too old or hasn't visited the school lately. It certainly, we should be proud of our young people in the Riverina. We should be proud of what they're achieving in our local community on sporting stage, artistic stage, all sorts of manner of things. And I think this is another way of seeing our young people who can write, who can present a video, who can tell a story about their community and themselves, their family, and all about what's important to them in this sort of fashion, and perhaps get recognised on the national stage in the People's Chamber, in the Parliament.
The other thing I love about this too, though, it's an opportunity to highlight the sorts of things that we all, but particularly targeting younger people, need to be aware of in terms of taking an active role in the democratic system. I mean, obviously you have to be listening to reliable media sources, you have to listen critically to all the information that's presented to you, What can you think of other things that we should all be doing? And I'm not just talking here about the target audience for this event, but all the things that we should be doing to make sure that we're engaged. I mean, do you think that families still sit around the dinner table at night and have pretty frank discussions about government policy and different parties' political agendas?
Well, funny you should say that. My family always did that. But, of course, Catherine and I are empty nesters now. But I think putting the phones away at the dinner table is one way of making sure that children are engaged, and as they grow into adolescence and then starting to work and perhaps still living at home, and more people are going to have to be doing that because of the cost of living crisis and the fact that there is a shortage of accommodation. More and more people, I think, will be staying home. So put your phones away whilst you're having those meals, on the opportunities that you get, because they're rare and they run out.
Exactly.
And I think that would be a really, really good start by families, because these days we use dishwashers. We don't tend to stand around the sink and wash up and talk.
Gee, we've had some good conversations around the washing up, haven't we, over the years?
Indeed we have. Indeed, always a fight over who was going to dry and who was going to wash. But
No, I'm talking the political debates.
Indeed. At the same time, as you say, quite correctly, have those discussions about the issues that are going on in the world. And there are many. And it is a troubled world. But our young people, they are the ones who are going to inherit the leadership roles. They're going to be the workers, the people who dictate what's going to happen in this world, and have a hand in shaping a better future. And it will be a better future. I think our best days are ahead of us, so that's why I would encourage.
And the thing is, with this initiative, it's such a great part of making sure that the future is so much brighter, or has the potential to remain bright. Hey, Michael, thanks so much for speaking to me this morning. Sadly, the timing is against us and we've run out of time, but really appreciate you having some input to that. And reminder that the instructions on how to enter that competition have gone out to all the schools. But if you're listening and you're eligible and you might have missed out, get in touch with us here at ABC Riverina Breakfast, and we can let you know how you go about getting an entry in. So a winner from Year 10, Year 11 and Year 12 will be chosen, and they will actually get to present their speech live and take part in a program of meetings at Parliament House. Now, I tell you what, it's not everybody who gets to do that, is it? Well, parliamentarians, you could be a Year 10, 11 or 12 student doing that if you put your hand up.